My name is Mary Beth McGee. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us for this information on Kindle desktop publishing. First, a disclaimer or two. I don't work for Amazon or Kindle. I don't earn anything from them other than the royalties on my books. I don't claim ownership of the images in this presentation. I also don't control the way the products work. Amazon is constantly updating and improving their book creation products, and the information contained in this presentation is subject to change without notice. The information I'm presenting is based on my own use of their products. There may be other ways to use the products that I haven't needed. And we're starting at a very basic level. So don't expect a detailed page-by-page way to use the products. We're just going to get you started and get you into the products, how to get them, how to use them. And you'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation so that if you have a question about a specific situation, we'll be able to get together and talk about them. So, what are Kindle desktop products? Well, there are a couple of them. There's Kindle Create. There's Kindle Kids Book Creator. There's Kindle Comic Book Creator. They're free products, and there are others. These are just the ones that we're talking about today. They're free products. You download them to your computer to assist you in getting your book ready for publication on Amazon. And everything we're going to talk about has to do with using them on Amazon. They make self-publishing a lot easier. They create uploadable books files for you so that you can easily take them into the Amazon's KDP publishing site. They also allow you to preview the file before you upload, so that you have a lot less editing and re-uploading to do down the line. There are different products and they have different purposes. Today we'll be talking about Kindle Create and Kindle Kids Book Creator. I don't personally deal with comic books, so I don't have a lot of experience with that one. However, as you'll see as we go through, the mechanics on the products are very straightforward, and I suspect if you're working with comic books, you'll be just fine. First question is, how do you get the products? Sign into kdp.amazon.com. If you already have an Amazon account, you can use that same ID and password to sign in. If not, you can create a new one. And once you get in, you'll land on the bookshelf page. On that bookshelf page, you'll find this screen. This part of the screen tells you a couple of things. First off, it reminds you that if you had books on CreateSpace, they've all been moved over to Kindle Direct Publishing. They're fine. You don't have to do the move them to KDP anymore. But second off, if you want to create a new title, whether it's an ebook or a paperback or both, you've got tools to do so. You can upload a manuscript, or you can use the free creation tools. And the link here in the first paragraph, the one that says book content, will take you to the page where you can download the product. Now you'll see there's also information about doing your book covers, your keywords and descriptions, and your ISBNs. We're not going to be going into those in great detail today. We're looking today at getting your manuscript up on Kindle. What do those programs have in common? Well, it's pretty straightforward. They get your manuscript ready to upload it to the KDP site, whichever format you're using. The product allows you to stop at any stage, save what you've done so far, and come back later to finish your edits. it's a great benefit to be able to do that without having to interrupt an upload. So that once you go to do that upload, you're going to have that finished file. The products help you to gather the metadata that you'll need to take the book live. And we'll talk more about metadata a little bit later. But just know that metadata is all that information outside of your manuscript that you need to take your book live. And that'll keep us going for right now. Once you have downloaded and opened Kindle Create, it will ask you if you want to return to an existing project or start a new one. When you start a new project, it will ask you to upload your file. Your file can be a doc or a docx file if you're working with a novel, with narrative nonfiction, or with poetry. It will be a PDF file if you're working with things like textbooks, travel guides, cookbooks, music books, anything that's going to have tables or illustrations, photographs, things that you want to keep in place. So you'll lay them out, save that file as a PDF, and then upload that PDF. Now, if you'll take a look at the top left, you'll see that there's a little toolbar. You can look at what you're doing. You can undo any edits. You can redo something if you undo it and decide that wasn't what you meant. You can find a particular phrase or word in your file, or you can insert information. Over to the far right, you'll see print settings, theme, save, preview, and publish. We'll come back and talk about those in a few minutes. Down the left-hand column, you'll see the contents. You'll notice that a couple of the lines on mine say empty. That's because those are things that I don't want to show up in the table of contents. So when you go through, it's going to go to every individual thing that it identifies as a header of some kind and give you the chance to put it in your table of contents. And if you say no, don't put it in, it will just show up as empty, and that just means empty of a table of contents entry. Doesn't mean that your information is gone. Just means it's not going to show up in the table of contents. That's all this left-hand column is. Once you've gone through and said OK on the various pages, is a list of your table of contents. In the center portion, you'll see the pages. And the pages show up individually. You can scroll through them using the scroll bar to the right of the page within the chapter, or you can use those contents headings to jump to another chapter. This allows you to go through and see all of the pages in each chapter as you're going through and looking. On the right-hand side, you have text properties, and we're going to come back and talk about that in just a moment, but those tools are the things that allow you to do global changes throughout your document. Changes to the formatting, not to the content, but to the formatting. Okay, now let's go back up to that top right-hand menu. You've got print settings, which allow you to go in and look at those print settings and work from there. You've got theme, which allows you to go in and choose a pre-saved theme. So let's say you're doing a series of books and you want a certain typeface for the headings, you want a certain typeface for the text. You can actually, once you get all of that together, save it as a theme and then use that for the next book without having to go through and reset it all. It gives you a lot of time-saving tools to work with. Save, of course, is save the file that you're working with so that you can come back and work on it later if you need to. Or if it's all ready, to get it saved to upload. The preview button lets you see what this is going to look like on an ebook. Okay, your screen is showing you what it's going to look like in text, The preview lets you see what it looks like as an ebook on various devices. I know, does that sound a little overwhelming? It's not. You get to see what your end readers will get to see and decide whether you like that or not, or are there changes that you want to make before you've gone through the trouble of uploading it to Kindle. And then finally, when you're ready, the Publish button creates the final files that you need to upload it to Kindle. Now, I said we'd look at those formatting menus in a little more detail. There are two of them: Elements and Formatting the Text. On the Elements, you can go through and identify what they are on the page and how you want to label them. So, do they show up as a chapter title, as a chapter subtitle, as a first paragraph if you're using drop caps, for example? You can set that all up in your Elements, and it will do it throughout the document. Under Text Properties, you can format within limitations. Okay, remember, Kindle does not take every text font that's out there. There are some that are restricted that you'd have to have permission to use. So for those things, you're not going to have a whole lot of success with uploading some fonts. It's going to convert them. So you want to make sure that you're using a font type that it can use, or that it will convert to something that it can use. And as you scroll down these sub-menus, you can go through and take care of all of your paragraph formatting and so forth as you go. Now, Kindle Kids Book. Okay, one thing you should be aware of if you are using the PDF upload, so if you've got something with images in it, these options are going to be a little bit limited because it's not working from a document file, it's working a PDF file. And so you're not going to have quite as many options available. But that's okay because you've already set it up and formatted it as you wish in that PDF file. For Kindle Kids Book Creator, you're working with a book usually designed for kids, and it's got some really cool features, including the fact that you can put the cover as part of the PDF file and not have to upload it separately if you've got it ready to go. Because it was created initially for ebooks, it's going to allow you to create pop-ups within your text. So once you identify the file that you're uploading, the PDF, it's going to start the upload, and you just kind of sit back and wait till it's finished. Once it brings that in, you're going to have the toolbar on the left to allow you to add or delete pages, to be able to work on your book settings, and again, that's back to that metadata that we're going to talk about in a little while. Your toolbar across the top allows you to add those pop-ups, as well as some basic formatting that you might want to do. Once you're finished, you're going to do your file and save and be ready to go with the Kid Book Creator. Now again, if you're dealing with photos, if you're dealing with images, things that you want to embed in the file, this is a great product for it. Don't be thrown off by the fact that it says Kids Book. It's very similar to what the Kindle Create does when you're using a PDF file, but it gives you the ability to add those pop-ups. Okay? One nice thing I would like to point out here in the Kindle Kids Book Creator: the Add Page and Delete Page features allow you to make corrections to a single page without having to reload the whole document. So if you are going through this and proofing it, and it's always a good idea because it's going to look a little bit differently here than looking at it in your document. The more times it's reviewed, the better. while you're looking at this, if you see something that you need to change, you can delete the existing page. Go out to your original document, make the change to that page, save that PDF page, and your best bet is do a print as PDF, because that will allow you to print the specific page. Then use the Add Page feature to add that corrected page back into your document here in Kindle Kids Book Creator. It's one I've used quite often, and I love being able to do that. So, which product should you choose? And again, it's going to depend very much on what kind of book you're publishing. Kindle Create, you're going to format them from a doc or a docx file for basic text products, from an imported PDF file for things like textbooks, travel guides, cookbooks, music books, anything that's got images or tables that you want to keep in place. Upload your cover into KDP separately. This one does not take your cover as part of the document. With Kindle Kids Book Creator, you can format the books from that imported PDF file. You can include the cover as part of the PDF file, or if you don't already have the cover ready, you can import it later into the creation process on Kindle as a JPEG, TIFF, or PNG file. And you can add that pop-up feature for the ebooks. So that's what the differences are between the two products. Now, I told you I was going to show you some tricks once you get to the tools and resources in Kindle. First and foremost, up at the top left, you have a menu full of help topics. I'm giving you the basic digested version today. But here you'll get in-depth on particular aspects of what you're doing. So if you need help with creating something or the particular different types of products, they're here. Also, you'll see that there are promotion products under there that make life a little bit easier for you as well. So do take the time to look at those help topics down the left-hand margin. The KDP tools and resources include manuscript formatting resources, cover formatting resources, the file setup calculator, the printing cost and royalty calculator. All these tools are available to help you choose the thing that you need and get the information that you need. This helpful chart includes information about which product to use if you're formatting it for an ebook and which kind of book you're doing, so which product will be best. And then if you're working on a paperback book, which one will be best. And these are all down that helpful information page available for you. And if you'll note at the bottom of the screen capture, there are links to the step-by-step guide for Word, for PC, Word for Mac, Pages, whatever particular thing you're using. You can download the information right from here. You don't have to go looking for it. It's right under the screen capture. And then finally, the cover formatting resources and the file setup calculator. Now, these are important because if you're creating your own cover, you're going to need something that fits. It's going to have to be big enough on a paperback to be front and back and spine if appropriate. So once you've calculated the size of your book, then you can download the calculator that will give you the margin, the bleed, the spine measurements. And that also has all the explanations of those terms when you're working with your cover. So great tools available right there in Kindle So don't be afraid to use them. Finally, the metadata. I promised you we were going to talk about this. When you're putting in the first version of your book, whether it's ebook or print, doesn't matter, make notes of what you're putting in so that all of your versions can match. You want to make sure that your name and your book title show up exactly the same in every format, so that both Kindle and Amazon Author Central can recognize that there's a connection between those books and that author. And that's important because metadata matters. I promised you we were going to talk about metadata, and here we are. Make notes of what you're using for things like your descriptions, your keywords, all of those things, because you want to make sure that they match on all your different versions. Enter your name and the book title exactly the same in every format, so that Kindle and Amazon Author Central will recognize that there's a connection, that this is the same author, this is different versions of the same book, so that when they're offering those books for sale, or when someone clicks on your name to see what you've written, everything will be together. When you publish with Kindle Tools, you're going to have some great possibilities ahead of you, because those desktop tools will make uploading your manuscript a lot easier and cleaner. It's going to allow you to preview the product before you go through the time-consuming upload process, so your edits get done a little bit quicker. It's going to help you get your books to Amazon quickly and easily. Your books will get an ISBN and a barcode for free if you don't have one of your own. You'll want to look into those if you want to do your own publishing and have your own ISBN. If you don't, Kindle will assign an ISBN for free, but you should be aware that that ISBN reveals in its format that this is a self-published book. Finally, you can order author copies in any quantity you choose without price penalties. Nobody's going to make you order 5,000 copies to get them at a reasonable price. You can order 1, you can order 100, you can order 500. Doesn't matter. The price per copy will be the same because it's what it costs them to print it, and they print on demand. So no warehousing huge numbers of books. It allows all of your books in all of the versions to be connected, and that's so important to your marketing efforts. It allows all of your books to show up under your name, so if someone loves one of your books, they can go see what else you have. By all of the formats of the book, we're talking about, is it in Kindle, is it in audio, is it in paperback? All of them together, so that if someone pulls up one link to your book, they'll be able to see all of the versions available. All of the titles by a given author, they can scroll through and see everything that you've written and published under that name. And I say under that name because that's important. If you don't use the same name, I mean, if you so much as put an initial in one and not in the other, it's not going to make the connection. So be sure you enter your name the same way each time. Now, there are some things that Kindle won't do. Kindle will make your book available on Amazon, but it's not going to market it for you. Things like the descriptive tags that you put on it, the categories that you put it in, will allow Amazon to match it up when people are looking for that. But Amazon is not going to go out and push the book for you. And you should be aware of that. Publishing your book through Kindle will not make your book available to bookstores and other retailers and to libraries unless you choose the expanded distribution model. And this is the information on expanded distribution and how it affects your royalties and all the other impacts that it will have. So now that you know what Kindle can and can't do for you, I hope that you'll look into the Kindle desktop publishing tools if you plan to self-publish through Kindle. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Even though it doesn't do everything, it does a lot. So do take advantage of them. Thanks so much for your attention today. I appreciate it. As promised, here's my contact information. If you have questions about something that we covered today, please feel free to contact me, and hopefully I'll have the answer. I'm not a Kindle expert by any means, but I do use it, and glad to help you if I can. Feel free to connect with me on social media, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future.